Okay, hi everyone, I am Kobus. It is again a wonderful privilege for me to be able to share with you what has happened to me over the last 2.5 years. But I would imagine a little bit more than 39 years is more accurate to really what has happened to me. 2.5 years the Lord saved me and has changed my life and really turned it upside down. My life started as growing up in a Christian home. I lived in a Baptist family with godly parents and godly grandparents who's been praying for me for a very long time. And I lived that way. I lived that way for pretty much the whole of my primary school career. But towards the end of primary school, more in the middle of high school, I started rebelling against the church and started in family in my home. And then it started getting worse and worse. I was searching for acceptance as a young man, and this led me down a path that was not very pretty. I started getting involved with all sorts of things from this world, all the pleasures that you can think of. I was in many cases the instigator and not just led down the wrong road. I was the pastor's son, often seen as the naughty one, rightly so. But then after school, I had more control over my own life. I wasn't being told what to do anymore, and I used that freedom. And that freedom led me down a path that got me dressed in a funny way. Lived like a real hippie for a long time. And at a stage my folks decided that it's maybe a good idea I go study after school. I went off to Stellenbosch and that didn't work. I just got more freedom further away from home. And I met up with even more wrong friends. Life was seemingly good. There was no worries. Until this one time, went to a Hare Krishna temple. I tried to impress a girl by going with her, and I later was introduced to her father, who was an atheist, and this was a foreign concept to me. But going to the Hare Krishna temple, I saw another part of a religion that I was not exposed to as a kid, and this led me down an interesting pathway in which that I decided that there could not be a God. I think looking back at it, it was more because I was so sinful and I did so many terrible things that to have God looking down on me with that wrath of His, I couldn't bear that anymore, and the guilt became so much that I had given up God by myself then. So a few years after school, I was a fully confessed atheist, and I continued to live that way for nearly 20 years. I built up a good defense as well. I built up a defense for atheism. Any Christian would come my way, would open his mouth, they would just give 2 cents of my so-called knowledge. This was fueled by the self-help books that I read, the business books that was founded in many of the self-help books and other psychological type of books. I remember even as a kid in school still, a friend of myself, we read up on his mother's book. She was a psychologist, on how hypnosis works, and we could hypnotize each other by just reading some of the books. And I realized that there was some power in that. I later went into business for myself in 2003. I was in the real estate industry. I started making some money, but I also started making some different choices. And I literally went from a hippie the one day into a professional looking businessman the next day. And with that change came also a change of attitude, an attitude that again wanted to be more conformed to people, to be more acceptable to them, and I needed to look like them. No one looked like I did, so I became this new guy, this sleek looking, well dressed, suit and tie, clean shaven guy that was a fake. And I changed some friends, some not so good friends to some little less good friends. But nevertheless, I made some changes. I became this so-called good person. And I lived this way. I got married that way. We conceived a child, Jason, which is the love of my life at the moment. And a great reason of why I am here today. And the Lord has used that to a great extent. I was married for a while. That didn't work out. I was too self-obsessed, and we got divorced. After my divorce, things really went bad. I suffered tremendously from depression. It would come over me at times that I couldn't lift my head from the pillow for sometimes days, and I would just be sulking alone at my place. I had started a new company. The first one failed, and I worked and lived in the same place. When my son would stay with me for the weekend, when it was my weekend, it was fine. But the days he's not there, I dreaded Fridays, because Friday came and things were just depressing. It led me down a different path and more immorality. But there was a change. A few things changed over a course of 6 months in the year of 2015. Things that literally blew my mind. I couldn't understand what was going on. But on the 6th of September 2015, I woke up on a Sunday morning with a desire to go to church, which was kind of strange because I was an atheist and I haven't been to a church for probably 20 years, except for a couple of funerals and a wedding, which is typically not even in the church anymore. But I got to the church that morning. To the first one, I googled for the best website. I didn't know any better in the area, in Durbanville. I got to the first church and I found myself in the parking lot, and I asked myself, what am I doing here? I still thought I have nothing to do, so I might as well go in. But I'm going to make myself 3 promises, and if I don't make these promises, this whole exercise might be fruitless. So I promised myself that I will soften my heart. I will accept whatever they say today, and whatever they said, there's a second thing, I will accept as truth. Because if I don't do that, I knew I wouldn't be able to learn. And the third thing I said, if there is a God, He's got to prove Himself, and He's got 3 months to do that. Otherwise I'm just carrying on as normal. Well, I walked into the sermon and the preacher started preaching something. I don't know what he said. Don't remember much, but I do remember I started to cry. I broke down like a baby crying. I know now what happened is the Lord saved me that day. He gave me new truths, new wisdom, new understanding that I didn't have. Up until then, to me, there was no God. But I let my heart open and He came in. I didn't let Him in, not yet. So I went to that church, went through all 4 days of listening to a whole bunch of sermons online, offline. I tried to read the Bible, which I downloaded on an app because I didn't have a Bible. I didn't understand what that book was saying. It was just Greek to me. But I went back to the church and I asked the pastor what was going on, and he explained to me in simple terms the gospel. And I had no reason to not accept it. It was the truth. By then I actually knew it. He was just laying it out in front of me. He was just explaining to me what the gospel is. Why did Jesus die? Why did He rise? And how does it benefit me? Eternity from my past, I didn't want that. I didn't want to go to hell. I knew that. I didn't know that 5 days ago, but then I knew. It became a reality to me, like as real as this chair that I was sitting on. That changed my life. That changed my life. I developed this absolute new love for Jesus Christ. I also fell in love with His Bible. Even though I didn't understand it for months, I kept on reading it day in and day out. He also graciously gave me two gifts that I think is invaluable for a new Christian. And the first one is some of my exterior sins just fell off, like it just disappeared. I didn't realize it at first, but a few months later I realized I haven't sworn at all. There were certain things I didn't think of anymore. Another thing is he gave me the ability to pray. From the very first moment, that first night that I got home, I prayed. It wasn't that it was good or bad or anything. I prayed. I spoke to my Father in heaven, and He started listening to me, and He started talking back to me in perhaps strange ways and maybe even wrong ways, and maybe I made some stuff up. I don't know, but I was growing, and I didn't know, and I didn't care what I was doing wrong. I just wanted to learn more. That passion has not gone away. My love for the Word has grown so tremendously much that about a year ago I decided I need to formalize this, and I went online and I found some courses to learn more theology and more doctrine, and this was just too random to me. So beginning last year I enrolled as a full-time student, as a theology student, and this is what I'm doing now. I'm not doing it because I think I've been called as a pastor or even called into full-time ministry. I just knew that I wanted to know more, and no one can give me as much as my desire is. I have so many different things that I want now that I'd never wanted before. The things of the past, I can't stand it anymore. It might sound like a cliche to some, but when I get invited to go to my old friends and parties in the pub, I can't go. I don't want to go. I can drive past the pub with absolute certainty say to me, I will never go in there. I hate that place. I hate what it stands for. I hate what I used to be. I absolutely hate the sin I was involved in. I am no longer who I was. Everything about me is gone. Everything. This is a change that isn't easy. To not want to go to friends because of their sin, but still go because of the love that you have for them. It's something I can't really explain. There's a love in me for people I don't know. People in the street that I've helped I would have never done before. This isn't me. I don't change like that. This is beyond me. He's given me a heart. And the Bible says He gives you a heart of flesh. I now get that. It's a heart of compassion and love, reaching out beyond my abilities in any and all ways. But He's also given me an acceptance towards sinners, people who was just like me. A week ago I was in jail sharing my testimony with some inmates, and I thought to myself, I'm just like them. Many of them are saved. Many of them know more about the Bible than what I do, and it gave me such joy. But I know that I have a love for people that are sinners just like I am, whether they are murderers or drug addicts or just church-going good people like I almost was. Good people that seem good on the outside, but on the inside just a hypocrite. I was chief hypocrite of all of them. Part of me still am. I'm working on that. I'm not perfect, but by God's grace, I'm changing day by day. And as the Bible says, I'm picking up my cross every day, and I suffer through the day. But I do it in joy. The joy in myself is the joy of the Lord. And I rejoice in that. I hope this can make a difference to whoever is listening.